On this episode of Inspiration Nation, it is time for us to finally get the Conquest prepped for our track days. And what we're going to be doing is installing this Moroso Accumulator sump. Now, a quick definition of what an accumulator sump is and what it does. For simple, basic terminology, it's a poor man dry sump. When you go around a hard G-force corner and all your oil sloshes to one side of the inside of the crankcase, you can run into oil starvation, which is very bad. Catastrophic failure. Blown engine. We don't want that. So what the AccuSump system does is right above the oil filter on the LS engine, there is a factory spot for the factory oil coolers. And it will bolt right over top of the oil pan, or the oil filter on the oil pan, and you'll be able to run a -8 braided line over to our AccuSump system. Now what happens is, the AccuSump system, it runs off of the internal oil pump of the engine. So there is a piston inside, which this marker is terrible. So the engine will pump up and keep oil stored in half of the tank. And what it is under pressure from the air pressure that you put in this end of the tank, once the oil ever hits a dry spot from the pickup tube inside the oil pan, let's say all the oil flushes to one side of the engine casing or what have you, the AccuSump will force this oil into the oil system of the engine, keeping oil pressure through all your main components. That was probably butchered, but you get the idea. I'm just killing this.
No, it was great. I understand what it does now.
Okay. Do you really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I understand it now.
So, all right. Big shout out to my homie Mitch over at Richard Engineering for machining out this sweet little adapter for the -8 line. He's also the same guy that made the custom valve covers on the Conquest. And they fit amazingly. Ta-da! Now let's make it pretty. We're also checking out the Bad Dog Tools step bit, and so far I really like it. You can feel the sharpness just by holding it. Badass. Promo code down in the bottom, Inspiration. Now we got to install our riv nuts. It's all of 3 ounces lighter than it was 10 minutes ago. At least it looks cool. Now we'll just use our off-road Camaro paint rack. We already have our 45, which is going to go onto the fitting under the car. Then we're going to route our line and mark it where we need to cut the end to put the 90 degree for the AccuSump tank for accumulator sump. Now we have our AN line made up, and if you need to know how to make an AN line, refer to our other video on how to make an AN line. But We've got it made. Now it's time to install, and we should be able to wrap it up. Well, this will just help deflect some of the heat because it is a little close to the exhaust. All right, now after reading the Moroso directions, after installation, before you do anything crazy, open the manual valve down here on the feed side and come over to the pressure side, unscrew the valve stem cap, and it says pressurized between 60 and 100 psi, and then bleed it back down to 6 psi. I don't know why we overpressure it and then bleed it off, but that's what the directions say from the manufacturer, so that's what we're going to do. Now, before you start the engine up, you need to add an additional 3 quarts if you have this one, which is a 3 quart, and it's, I believe, 2 quarts for the 2 quart one, and so on and so forth. We're running the 3 quart one. The instructions say add 3 quarts, so we're gonna add 3 quarts of oil and start it up. Now, for some reason, it bothered me that the Moroso sticker was upside down or facing backwards. And they already sent these really cool ones, so I'm gonna put this one where it's facing the right way. I might even do it crooked just so it bothers me even more. Way better.
Oh yeah.
Now before you take it all off your lift or however you have it, do yourself a really good safety tip. Crank it up and check for any leaks, because the last thing you want is an oil leak anywhere on the engine, because if it sprays across something really hot, like the exhaust, you could definitely burn your car down. So make sure you check yourself for leaks and make sure all that is good before you go giving it a rip at the track. And there you have it. That's the basic installation of an accumulator sump on an LS engine. With that, you are totally ready to go rip some hot laps at the track. Hey, what are you doing? You almost skipped to the next video without subscribing. Come on, hit that subscribe button. You know you enjoyed this.